If you're installing faucets, then you might want to use a faucet tool to help you attach the water supply lines and the faucet nuts on the other side of the faucet that hold the faucet to the sink. And they are in a kind of hard to reach spot between the back of the cabinet of the vanity and the sink itself, which makes it difficult to go up and just use an adjustable wrench because there's no space to turn the wrench. So for that you need to use a basin wrench, which goes up under there, grabs onto the nut, and helps you tighten it or loosen it. The benefits of a basin wrench is that it's adjustable, so any size nut will work, and it's reversible. So one way for tighten, and one way to loosen the nuts. But they have invented, I don't know who invented it first, but I have here Ridgid Faucet tool. It has a whole bunch of different adapters, size connections, and different ways of using this to get a faucet installed or removed and replaced. I've used this one. This one is a kind of a nondescript. It must have been from China or something, but it works, and I've used it numerous times. It has different parts for sink strainer baskets that you need to tighten. So does this one. This one is heavier and larger than this one, if that matters. But it's heavier because it has substantial metal parts. Some of that comes with the adapter here. It has different uses that you might not expect. For example, using it for tight valves. So these shut-off valves, sometimes they sit there for years and even decades, and they get really stuck and very difficult to move. And that way you can use this part of the tool. I don't know, this one has it as well. So it has this spot, this little space here, and that space there. For demonstration purposes, you can use that. You can just drop that right on a shut-off valve and turn it. And no matter what you're tightening or loosening, you can use this part here. This one has a very small part there for extra leverage with a screwdriver. It can really help you loosen something. Obviously you're not going to tighten anything that tight, but when you're replacing these things, sometimes it's really difficult to get off either a supply line nut or especially the faucet nuts that can sit there and get really crusty and really tight. Another way you can use this is this hex part here for an adjustable wrench. And that can really give you leverage to open really stuck shutoff valves or really stuck faucet nuts usually, or even supply line nuts. Part there comes off, and then you can use this for different size strainer baskets. And this is also a wrench, a socket wrench for a hex, a deep well socket. And what you would do is you would actually remove this bottom part, because the supply line will fit right in there, and you can turn it as you're tightening it. You'll turn it around, and this will just kind of just stay in the middle of the tool. And then as you can see, yeah, so you would tighten that. You would first put this on by hand, and it's got the little rubber washer in there, so that's what really stops any leaks. But you want to get that pushed up against the faucet, so it's not really the threads that's sealing anything, so you don't really need thread sealant. But I like to usually put a little bit of pipe dope on just to lubricate. But you put it on by hand, and then you have to tighten it more. You can't just hand tighten it. So you tighten it more with this tool. Same for loosening it. So you can go up there put this in the middle and then just loosen it, and then this loosens by itself. Sometimes it gets really stuck onto the supply line, but it moves by itself, and then that way this isn't spinning all around. But as you can see, this has two different sizes, so it can actually go up to either 7/8 inch, 7/8 inch, and 5/8 and 1/2. So you would have to move this around. So yeah, you can just flip that part around for whatever size you're using. Another tool I like to use for faucet jobs is this knee pad. So obviously good for knees. It's also good for your back and your head. If you want to put that in there as you're leaning up, looking up at the supply lines. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace these faucet supply lines. And the other side is for the faucet nuts that are sometimes different configurations. Sometimes there's only 3 tabs, sometimes 4, and this will be able to easily do either, and then connect up and then loosen them. Today I won't be doing that for demonstration purposes because I'm not replacing the faucet. I'm just going to be replacing these supply lines. And we check for leaks. Okay. So no leaks. So in this situation I had a little bit of room for a wrench here, but in a lot of situations you don't. And this can be very handy to get up there. And you also saw the faucet nut up there. See that? So that plastic nut there would be tightened onto this part here, this brass part here. And to remove those and to tighten those, you would just use the other part, the other side of the tool. So there'll be a link for this in the description. It's not very expensive. For the price, you get so many different adapters and different options and different nut sizes, and it sure beats trying to use this thing. So that's it. That's how to use the Ridgid Faucet tool.